are some folks here tonight that might be new to the contemporary dance audience, so I want to share a very short story that hopefully might bridge a gap or just highlight some of the many ways in which embodied storytelling and Jewish culture really deeply overlap and always have. So, very short story that I believe is from like the 1960s, taking place in New York. There's a Christian man who is just fascinated by the religious Jewish community, and he decides that he wants to go and learn more about them. So he moves to this shtetl-like village and begins to study in yeshiva. And for the first year there, no one will talk to him. You might have heard the story. I think it's folklore. I've heard different versions of it. Who knows how exact it is? But so no one will talk to him, so he just minds his business and he studies what he can. And as he's studying and minding his business, he notices that everyone seems to really talk with their whole bodies, especially their hands and gestures. So think of these come from Steve Weintraub, this collection of gestures. And he notices a gesture, and he begins to pick up on the gesture and starts to use it when he talks. Finally, after a year of just being there, doing his thing, people start to talk with him. And now that he's in, he asks, why? What was that all about? And the other students told him, we were a little skeptical of you. We didn't know what this Christian man who's coming into this community, so interested in us as a group of people, wanted to learn. But less than that, what we really didn't trust is that your body was so still when you were talking. So how can you believe what you're saying if your whole body is not invested in it? So once he started to add in the gesture, they began to trust him, and he had his in. A really wonderful mentor that I work with, Liz Lerman, does a lot of work analyzing gesture, even just like conversational gesture. Trying to break down some of the qualities and the possible meaning behind it. And when you start to pay attention to this and the way other people talk, you notice, and it really highlights the way in which our bodies actually often know something before even our minds and our words can articulate it. So I say all this just to share some of the many ways in which physical storytelling and Jewish culture are so intertwined, and why I'm so excited to have this growth of dance programming happening here at the Vilna Shul Boston Center for Jewish Culture, and especially at such a high caliber. We're in for such a treat tonight, truly like the highest of calibers. So Noah Wertheim is the artistic director and choreographer of Vertigo Dance Company. She was born in the United States and grew up in Israel, where she first studied dance in Netanya. After 3 years of military service in the developing town of Yeruhanim, Wertheim completed her studies at the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance in 1990. And in just 1992, together with Adi Sha'al, she founded Vertigo Dance Company, which is based in both Jerusalem and in the Vertigo Eco Art Village in Ella Valley, where she lives with Sha'al and their 3 sons. Under the artistic direction of Wertheim, who is an honorary fellow of the Jerusalem Academy of Music and Dance, that internationally acclaimed Vertigo Dance Company, who we're going to get to see right in front of us tonight, very exciting, has begun its 3rd decade with an impressive repertoire of original works choreographed by Noah, whose distinct dance language inspires dance students and artists by encouraging interpersonal communication and community involvement. Beyond her contribution to cultural life in Israel, Wertheim's unique approach promotes social change by creating an artistic connection between the community and the environment. We see this in the Vertigo Dance Education School, which is in Jerusalem, in the Vertigo Eco Art Village, and in the Power of Balance, which is a dance program dedicated to the inclusion of the disabled community in dance. So I'm very excited for what we have here tonight. Without further ado, I'll introduce Noah.